One really unique thing about ProMark sticks is that their main line are rear-weighted sticks, or rebound sticks as they call them. But what actually makes a drumstick rear-weighted, and how does that hold up against the competitors? Let's do a deep dive on 6 pairs of their 5A rebound sticks. We're going to take a look at straightness, how accurate the diameters are cut, weight matching, pitch matching, and how long it takes for the tips to chip. We'll also compare the specs on these sticks against brands such as Vic Firth and Vater. First up, let's go through some of the common specs. So these sticks are 16 inches in length, they're made out of hickory, and they have a lacquer finish. That's all pretty typical, and the length does seem consistent, which is better than what I've seen on some B-stock sticks. The diameter on these sticks are supposed to be 0.565 inches. That would make them the same exact diameter as the Vic Firths. They are slightly thinner than the Vater Los Angeles sticks, which are 0.570, and slightly thicker than the Zildjian branded 5A sticks, which are 0.560. I did some quick measurements towards the butt end of the sticks using my vernia, and the actual diameters seem to range between 0.5635 and 0.5700. There was only one stick at that 0.5700, so maybe that was more like an outlier. For the most part, I would say that the variance is pretty tight on the diameters. These sticks, they have acorn style tips. Again, that makes them similar to the Vic Firths as opposed to the Zildjian branded ones and the Vater Los Angeles, which use oval tips. So with so many things similar between the ProMarks and the Vic Firths, why are the ProMarks considered to be rear weighted instead of forward weighted? The key difference is with the taper length. For those of you who don't know, on a drumstick where the taper starts, that's referred to as the shoulder of the stick. And the taper length goes from the shoulder all the way to the tip. Most drumstick manufacturers, they claim their taper length is a medium length, although that can vary a bit from manufacturer to manufacturer. ProMark, they claim that these sticks have a long taper, although you have to look really carefully to be able to see more tapering when you compare them to the Vic Firths. Now, here's where the magic actually happens. Because of that longer taper, there's more material or more wood that's removed from the front of the stick. There's nothing actually done to make the stick heavier on the back end, nothing done to make it more rear weighted. So really we should say that the sticks are less front weighted, but of course that's not a very good marketing term. What that all means is that the center of gravity should be further back on the stick. And in theory, when you play, you should get a little bit more rebound action out of the stick compared to a forward weighted stick. A quick note on the price point, the ProMarks are actually more expensive than the Vic Firths, about $1 more per pair. Now, just like Vic Firth, the ProMarks, they are offered in bundles, and that will save you some money. One word of warning though is that right now, the ProMark 4-packs that I see being sold actually only have 3 pairs of the normal 5As and then 1 pair of the fire grain 5As. So you can certainly save some money with the ProMark multi-packs, but just keep in mind that those multi-packs are still more money compared to the Vic Firth multi-packs. Okay, let's check the build quality next. We're going to do roll tests, and we're also going to look at weight matching, which ProMark claims to be unrivaled. Before we get started, I just want to note that there is some slight inconsistency on the printing on these sticks. Just the stripes don't quite always line up, and it looks like sometimes they use too much ink, but that's being a bit nitpicky. Okay, let's start with pair number 1. These are both pretty good. This one is the better of the two here. This one I can see a slight amount of movement on this piece, but it's not too bad. So I would say this one's really good and this one's pretty good. On to pair number 2. This seems to be a similar story for the, well, a somewhat similar story. This is like the better of the last two sticks from pair 1. This one is actually maybe, this one might be a little bit worse here. It's still good, but it's definitely not super great, right? There's definitely more motion going on over here. I don't see any light coming in underneath though. Just a slight different amount of light shown on this point here. So far, first pair, one really good, one pretty good. This pair, one really good, one decent. On to pair number 3. This might be the best stick I've seen so far. And this one is also really good. So this is definitely the best pair. Pair 3 is the best so far. Both of those sticks I'm very, very happy with. On to pair number 4. Right off the bat, I think this is maybe the worst stick of the batch so far. This one's pretty good here. Yeah, this one definitely is starting to get a little bit of bowing or something. And I can definitely see a lot of motion over here. And I can see basically the amount of light that I can see coming from underneath changes from like this point to this point. So, I mean, it's still pretty good, right? Because there's no bowing underneath this part here. But just relative to all the other sticks, it's definitely the worst one. It's kind of getting into the okay territory. On to pair number 5. So of these, I think this is the better one. There's maybe a little bit of motion on it, but it's still pretty good. This one here, yeah, this one definitely has a bit more motion, I can see. It's not as bad as the one on pair 4. It's definitely still better than that. But I can see more motion here and a little bit more light coming in under this point. Okay, time for the last pair, number 6. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me put that one aside. I think that's the worst stick so far. Let me come back to that. All right, this one here, it's okay. It's maybe good-ish. There's a little bit of motion here. There's been some other sticks of the batch from before, I think pair 4 and 5, that certainly had sticks that were worse than this one. So this one's not that bad, actually. But there is a little bit of motion here, and I can see some changes in the amount of light that I'm getting. So like kind of from here to here. But this stick right here, I mean, you can hear da 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 da, right? I can see light coming in. Hold on a second here. When I hold it like this one is definitely warped. All right, I can rock it back and forth. And if I hold it over at this point, I can see light coming in like all the way to here, all the way down to here. So this one has just a really big bow. So this stick is bad. This stick is definitely bad. But overall, there's only, I guess, one bad stick out of 12, which is not too bad. It's better than what I've seen for some other companies. So I'll give them that. And there were several like really good or like pretty good sticks in the batch. Next up, I'm gonna take 2 pairs of sticks at random and see how long it takes until the tips chip. So the first sticks I worked with was pair number 4, and I got about 48.5 hours out of those sticks before the tip on the right stick started to chip. Honestly, that's really good. And I probably could get a little bit more life out of it because it's not chipped that much yet. Next up, I grabbed pair number 2, and that did not fare nearly as well. I only got about 12 hours out of that before the right tip started to chip. And that's actually already chipped worse than pair number 4 from earlier. I was hoping to get a little bit more life out of pair number 2, so I started using the left stick in my right hand, and I only got another 4.5 hours before that tip started to chip. We're gonna check the pitch matching next on those 4 remaining pairs. We'll also see how the ProMarks sound compare to Vic Firth and other brands. So overall, I feel these sticks were really good, and they were kind of at the front of the pack on a few different fronts. First, they were pretty straight overall, and a lot better than several of the other brands that I've looked at. Weight matching was really good, within about 2 grams for each pair. The diameters were all pretty close, with I think pair 2 being the worst of the bunch. And I felt the pitch matching was also pretty good. Maybe pair 3 was the worst of that test. Life expectancies seem to be varying a bit, maybe comparable to what I've seen from Vic Firth's, which are also acorn tips. Definitely not as good as what I've seen for oval tip sticks. Having played forward weighted or really medium tapered sticks my whole life, I can't say I really noticed any big difference with these rear weighted sticks. That said, I also didn't do any kind of critical fast motion tests with it. So with all that and considering their price point, I say these sticks rival the Vic Firths. Earlier, I mentioned those multi-stick bundles come with 1 pair of fire grain sticks. You can find out everything you need to know about fire grain sticks, including if the increased cost is worth it, right over here or in the description below. Until next time, peace.